Okay, so today's article about shared offices begins by saying a traditional office is full of people who all work for the same company. That's like the office I work in.
A lot of people in the office working for the same boss.
That's right. Now, not all companies are like mine, though. The article says, however, smaller companies are increasingly turning to shared office space. Here are some of the reasons why.
Increasingly 是上升、增加的意思。So this is happening more and more often. What are the reasons provided in the article? Can you tell us?
Of course. Now, the article says the first and most obvious reason is because shared offices are cheaper. We had our first vocabulary word in that sentence. It's the adjective obvious. Obvious is spelled O-B-V-I-O-U-S. Obvious. Obvious means that something is easy to notice or understand. Let's use the adjective obvious in an example sentence. It's obvious that Sandy is not feeling well. Look how pale she is.
Obvious 它是一个形容词，代表明显的。那如果我们放到句型当中呢，我们会用 It is obvious that 后面加上完整的句子来表示某事是明显的。所以放回去例句当中呢，我们可以看到什么事情是明显的呢？哦，原来是 Sandy is not feeling well. Sandy 不舒服这件事是明显的。
Okay, so we just learned that one of the main reasons smaller companies are looking for shared office spaces more and more is that it's cheaper, it's less money, okay? And we talked about that a lot yesterday. But let's find out how it can be cheaper to share a space. The article says office overheads such as electricity, air conditioning, and a good internet connection all cost money. Now, there are a lot of things to talk about in this sentence, but before we get to our vocabulary words, there's a word here that's a little bit more difficult to explain in English. It's a very high-level word. So, can you help me explain what an overhead is, Elsie?
Sure.Overheads 它是一个名词，那通常呢以复数形出现，代表的是经常性的开支，例如水电费啦、网路费等等的。那如果我们看字面呢，我们看到左半边 over，O-V-E-R， 右半边 head，H-E-A-D， 我们也可以解释这个字是副词，代表在头上或在空中。So we can say the helicopter is circling overhead， 代表的是呢直升机在空中盘旋。
Okay, so now we have some examples of office overheads here. So the first one is electricity. Electricity is a noun and it's spelled E-L-E-C-T-R-I-C-I-T-Y, electricity. Now, electricity is the power that's carried by wires that make machines and lights work. For example, we could say, we have no electricity right now because the storm knocked the power lines down.
Electricity 是电的意思，那它的形容词呢？我们说 electric 叫做电的。我们很常听到 I got electric shock， 这是什么东西呢？那个是触电的意思哦，哈。那另外呢，还有一个形容词叫做 electronic， 它代表的是电子的。比如说呢 ，electronic store 代表它是卖电器用品的店，或者是呢 electronic devices 电子装置，或者是呢 electronic dictionary 电子字典。
Okay, so the first office overhead we talked about was electricity or power. Okay, the next overhead we're going to talk about is air conditioning. Now, air conditioning is a noun and it's two words. The first is spelled A-I-R. The second is spelled C-O-N-D-I-T-I-O-N-I-N-G. Air conditioning. And it's a system inside a building that keeps the temperature cool. Everyone in Taiwan knows what air conditioning is. It's really important here, especially in the summer. Which brings us to our example sentence. Now that it's summer, I have to turn my air conditioning on when I'm at home.
Air conditioning 就是空调冷气的意思了。What about air conditioner?
That's another noun. Yeah.
它也是一样哦，那也是空调冷气的意思，我们可以简称为 AC。那另外呢，我们来看到形容词 air conditioned， 也就是在 condition 的后面加上 ed。这个形容词呢，代表的是附有空调设备的，所以我们可以说 This is an air-conditioned room。这间房间呢是有空调的。
So there are a lot of things to pay for when you get an office. We have electricity, we have air conditioning, which is very expensive, and we also need a good internet connection. But we have to continue on with our article. It says, not every small company can afford all this when they're just starting out. So another sentence with a lot to talk about in it. Let's start with the verb afford, which is spelled A-F-F-O-R-D, afford. Now, if you can afford something, it means you have enough money to pay for something. Always a nice thing. Let's use it in an example sentence. I can't afford to take a trip this year, so I'll keep saving my money for one next year.
Afford 是动词负担的意思 ，afford to do something 负担做某事，所以例句提到呢 ，I can't afford to go on a trip this summer， 代表的是我这个夏天不太能够负担去旅行这件事情。那如果今天我们只要讲的是负担一样东西呢，我们可以把这样东西这个名词加在 afford 的后面。For example， 我们可以说 I can't afford this car。我无法负担这台车，代表的就是我买不起这台车。
Now, something else that's important to know about the verb afford is that it's most often used with can afford or can't afford.
Right. 前面呢，它的例句当中呢，或是你用的这个句子当中，通常都是否定的，然后后面再加 afford 这个字。
Okay, now we also saw the phrase start out in that sentence. When something starts out, it begins to happen or exist in a particular way and will often change in the future. For example, I started out as a waitress at this restaurant, but now I'm the manager.
Start out 是展开的意思，或是开始。Start out as 后面加一个名词，代表的是呢以某身份或状态来开始的。
Okay, so how does a shared office make it easier to afford these things? These internet and electricity and air conditioning. The article says, in a shared office space, these expenses are also shared, so everyone pays less. Expenses is another word for overhead.
Expenses 就是所谓的开销。That's a good idea. Everyone helps pay a little bit to make it cheaper to work there.
It's kind of like if you share a house with some roommates, you all share to pay these bills.
Yes, and you can pay less.
Okay, so here's something else that's good about sharing an office space. The article says, another benefit is that sharing a space allows people to share ideas. Now here we saw the noun benefit, which is spelled B-E-N-E-F-I-T, benefit. Now a benefit is an advantage you get from a situation that will make things better. For example, you will notice the health benefits of quitting smoking almost immediately.
Benefit 是名词，代表利益、好处。那常见的搭配用法有很多哦。比如说呢，我们可以讲to get a benefit or to gain a benefit， 或者是to receive a benefit， 代表的是得到利益。For example, people who exercise regularly get health benefits. 规律运动的人呢，可以得到健康上面的好处。 第二个呢，我们可以怎么用呢？我们可以把它放到一个句子里头哦，叫做 be of benefit to somebody or something， 代表的是对某人或某事有益处的。我们可以说呢 ，It is of benefit to me that the company is expanding。公司变大呢，对我是有好处的。
So benefit is not just a noun, it's also a verb. For example, we could use it like this. How will these resources benefit my company?
Benefit 也是可以当动词来使用的，也就是对某事或某人有益处。
Okay, well, let's keep going on the article. There's something else that would make sharing ideas or sharing this office space even easier. The article says, this is especially true, or much truer, if there's a common area where employees from different companies can hang out together. Okay, so we see the phrase hang out in this sentence, and it means to spend a lot of time in a particular place with other people, not just you, with other people. For example, I invited some friends to hang out at my house on Saturday night.
Hang out 就是聚在一起打发时间的意思。To hang out with somebody 代表的是和某人一起打发时间。So we can also say hanging out with my friends is what I like to do in my free time. 能跟我的朋友一起打发时间，是我在闲暇时候很喜欢做的事情。
I love hanging out with my friends. I don't get a lot of free time, but when I do, that's the first thing I like to do is hang out with friends.
Same here.
Okay. Something interesting can happen when people from different companies hang out. Now, the article says, when people from different industries and backgrounds mix, they often generate more creative ideas. What about this word generate here?
Generate 是一个动词，代表的是制造、创造。那我们文章当中提到 to generate ideas， 代表的是创造、激发出点子。那如果回到我们文章前一些的地方，我们看到 electricity， 对不对？它是电力，我们也可以说 to generate electricity， 制造电力。
Okay, so if they get together and they start hanging out, they start creating or generating these ideas. So more brains can come up with even better ideas. But there's more. The article says, what's more, companies can help each other out by providing specialist services such as web design or marketing.
Specialist 这边当一个形容词来用，代表的是专业的。So people can get specialist advice by working in a shared place. 在共有的空间工作，人们呢可以得到专业的意见。
Let's talk a little bit more about this last idea. Say you are starting a sales business, okay, and you need someone to design an ad for your company. Now, if you worked in a shared office with a marketing company, it would be amazing for you to just go to their room and say, I need this. Can you help me design this ad?
Yes, and you work together with each other.
Right.
Good. You could just ask someone from the other company in your office to do that. That's really amazing.
And if you also work with a web design company, maybe a sales company, a marketing company, a web design company, they could design you an ad to go on the internet, the web design company. So there's so many different things that you can get from sharing these offices, which is why the article says, when there are some experts just down the hall, why not use them?
That's definitely the simplest idea, and it might have been cheaper.
Right. So it's like if it's cheaper, if they're just right there, they might give you a special price. They might give you a discount on their services. Okay, well, the last line of today's article says, there are many other advantages or benefits to shared spaces, so keep the idea in mind if you're ever looking for a new office. So we've got one last phrase to look at here. keep something in mind. When you keep something in mind, you're remembering or thinking about that thing while you're doing something else. For example, I asked the boss to keep my holiday time in mind when he made that week's schedule.
To keep something in mind 在字面上看来是把某个事情保留在心中，也就是记住某事的意思。
Okay, for all those out there thinking about starting their own business, I hope this has been helpful.
However, we're all out of our time for today's article, so let's get to our For You chat question.